Hi there, and welcome to the first lesson in APUSH Period 5. We're going to be contextualizing the period. I'm your APUSH Lady Boss. Thanks for joining me. Go ahead and click down in the description if you want some follow-along notes to go along with this video. So to start, we're going to attack this learning objective, explain the context in which sectional conflict emerged from 1844 to 1877. So, we're going to do a quick review over what is contextualization. We're going to talk about the social, political, and economic conditions in America before 1844, and then do a preview of America by 1877. So, to start, contextualization, according to the College Board, this is something that you're going to have to do in many areas of the AP exam where you are analyzing the context of specific historical developments or processes. And you're going to have to situate specific events within the broader time period. And so, one way to think about this is to think about a row of dominoes. And so, if you ever lined up dominoes, you know that when you knock over one, if you set them up correctly, if you knock over one, the rest are going to fall. And so that's one way to think about contextualization is what is happening before the second domino. What is leading up to it that is knocking it down? What is that? That's a little bit more connected to causation, but it is one way to think about the relationship between different events and processes is what is happening before that is impacting the particular thing you're studying. So, in America before 1844, the social conditions is that there is a massive expansion of slavery. As the US gains more Western lands, as that migration takes place, there is a stronger desire to expand slavery to the West to continue to engage in commercial agriculture. We have high rates of immigration at this time period. As the US goes through industrialization, there is going to be a high need for workers, especially in urban areas. And so we see lots of immigrants coming to the United States to take advantage of industrial opportunities. In addition to immigrants taking advantage of those industrial opportunities, women will as well. And so there's going to be a larger role for women in the public sphere of society. There also are lots of reform movements that take place in the 1840s, where we see people starting to engage in efforts to improve their society, such as engaging in abolition or advocating for women's rights. These are the types of things that are happening, especially in the 1840s. Now, politically, we see westward expansion increasing the U.S. efforts at dealing with other nations. And so, boundary disputes and interactions with American Indians are going to increase as Americans move further west. And so, we're going to see more treaties with other nations and American Indians at the time. We also see a expansion of democracy. And so, in the period, there's going to be an increase in the number of voters and the number of people who are participating in the political process. However, this is going to be white males. And so we're going to see universal white male suffrage occurring. Also, the second party system emerges. And so we see this period where there had just been one political party for a very long time disintegrate into two separate political parties, the Democrats and the Whigs. Now, economically, there's going to be some pretty significant things that are happening before 1844. The market revolution is probably the biggest one you want to be familiar with. This is going to lead to massive transportation developments, the increase in industrialization, and commercial agriculture. And so our regions are going to become more specialized. So they're going to become more different, but then they're going to become more dependent on each other. So our Northeast is going to be manufacturing goods. Our Midwest, Western area is going to be creating or producing food crops, and our South is going to be producing cotton. And they're all going to engage in more trade because they can transport these things more efficiently because of the transportation revolution. However, some policies will lead to an economic panic in the 1830s that will lead into the 1840s. We see the difference between slave and wage labor becoming even more significant, and debates over the role of government in banking, businesses, and tariffs become increasingly obvious. And so, all of these conditions are going to create this sectional tension where our regions, while working together, are going to be in opposition to each other as well. So, by 1877, We have continued westward expansion. However, this is going to fuel those sectional tensions. During the period, it leads to war with Mexico and conflicts with American Indians. That's similar to before the 1844. That continues in the period. It also stimulates changing demographics as there's going to be more migration from Asian countries as Mexicans become part of the United States with the acquisition of all that western land. And so, while there's continued westward expansion, it leads to different things happening. But most importantly, it leads to the Civil War. And so the main part of period 5 is going to be talking about what happens during the Civil War and then the impacts of it, including Reconstruction. And so this is where we really see a lot of the changes happening in the period. We see changes to political parties. There's no longer going to be the Democrats and the Whigs. There's going to be some third parties. We're going to have Democrats and Republicans, but then there's even going to be the faction of the radical Republicans. And so there's a lot of political changes that happen by 1877. The role of the federal government is going to be highly debated, whether states have the right to secede, whether the federal government is supreme. Those arguments are going to become extremely exposed during the Civil War and Reconstruction. But then, most importantly, is going to be the rights of individuals. There's going to be significant things that happen in the Reconstruction period where the rights of African Americans, the rights of women are going to be addressed. And while some things will change in regards to those rights, a lot of things will continue to stay the same. So there you have it. There is the context in which sectional conflict emerges between 1844 and 1877. I hope this video was helpful for you, and if so, please like and subscribe.